Welcome back after the break. Thank you so much for joining in on day two of Soda Code 2022. We have the first panel discussion of the day coming up for you. Do you know the real potential of open source ecosystem for your career? What are the ways it can help you to grow? What are the ways you can enter this global opportunity and get the best value? And finally, what is needed for all of these? In this panel discussion, the open source project leaders and experts will share the various opportunities and challenges of the open source ecosystem for developers. Today, we have with us as panelists Vinothini Raju, founder and CEO of GoPaddle.io, John Bent, Senior Director at Seagate, Krishna M Kumar, Principal Architect Cloud and Senior Manager Accenture and Solo Ambassadors Lead, and Shiva Kumar, Director at Huawei Technologies India, Huawei. Moderating this panel is Sanil Kumar D, Chief Architect, Huawei Technologies and TOC Co-Chair at Soda Foundation. Over to you, Sanil.
Thank you, Anvit. Hi, first of all, welcome to SODACODE Day 2. I hope you enjoyed the keynotes. It's my pleasure to meet my friends Shiva, Vinothini, and Krishna, and also John in this panel discussion. And our topic is uh, the potential of open source. Personally, I feel it is not really understood well beyond a point of understanding from students or professional community. So we will try to demystify some of those and try to understand from these experts from various levels of expertise in open source and also on project management, and to understand that what is in it for all of us, including students or professional. Yeah, thanks Shiva, Vinothini, and Krishna for joining. And John, unfortunately, he has to go for an urgent travel. He could not join, but no worries. He shared a short video, sharing his insights to this. So we have full house today. So just to start with, I would like to hear from each one of you that what is your experience and connection with open source? Briefly, one or two lines to start with. So I will start with Vinothini. Ladies first. Vinothini, we are not able to hear you.
Yes, I'm just trying to join in.
Yes.
It's such a great privilege to be here and talking in front of such a great audience today. Yeah, it's a great topic, and it's an interesting topic that is very close to my heart. You know, at GoPaddle, so basically, let me give a quick intro about GoPaddle itself. So GoPaddle is a no-code platform for Kubernetes deployments. So we kind of heavily use Kubernetes, which is again an open source project that is driven by CNCF, which is again a Linux Foundation project. And we are also, one of the maintainers of Configurator, which helps to maintain, configurations on Kubernetes environments. So both as a consumer as well as a team which is driving the open source, I think it's a great topic for us to talk about today.
Yeah, thanks, Vinothini. Shiva, you could share your connection with open source.
Yeah, thanks for this opportunity and to share my experience. I'm connected to the SODA Foundation. I'm part of SODA framework project such as Dolphin, Wahoo, and multi-cloud. So I had also had an opportunity to work with the community, developer community, participating in the boot camp. So I really feel this is the best opportunity because my most of the experience in the delivery. But I could see there is a huge difference that opportunity that provides to the developer, the open source. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Shiva. Krishna, your video is not on. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, now we can see handsome Krishna. Krishna, How about you? I mean, you share with your connection. I think you have a long history connecting open source.
Okay, thanks guys for inviting me for this one. I've been with open source for the last 10 years or so. From my old days from HP, I started with the OpenStack, Cloud Foundry, then later on moved to Kubernetes somewhere in 2015, 2016 timeframe. And I have been with the Kubernetes for 7 or 8 years now. I think I'm a CNCF ambassador. So when I was in Bangalore, we had a lot of meetups, events, conferences, talks, and suddenly involved in a lot of those activities. Currently, I am with Accenture North America Cloud Practice. Most of the cloud providers, especially the big ones, they use open source as part of the cloud offerings actually. So I am currently deploying a lot of those cloud services at customer sites, which includes a lot of open source activities. And few of our projects I was part of goes to the CNCF actually. We as part of CNCF incubation project and sandbox project, and in that category, like Cubase, Volcano, and so on. So that's how my open source.
Yeah. Thanks, Krishna. I'm sure that your insights, I think your experience will definitely help with this session. Next, John. John could not join, as I mentioned, but though he's in an urgent travel, he could record a video. So what I did is that I asked him to introduce, and also I started the first question with him, that how open source at Cortex they work and how it helps the career for developers. So let's listen to John and start the panel discussion. Can I have the video of John? Thanks.
My name is John Bent. I'm a senior director at Seagate Technologies. I'm working on our distributed Cortex S3 compatible object storage system. I'm currently running our architecture group, our advanced development group, as well as our open source community awareness and development group. Again, my name is John Bent at Seagate. So I'd like to apologize for not being live in this panel. I was hoping to be live. Unfortunately, I'm traveling. You can tell by my hotel background that I'm in a hotel right now, traveling and unable to join at this time. But I did want to take this opportunity to thank the SODA to thank the SODA Foundation for everything that they've been doing in the field of data management and bringing communities together. It's really exciting, and we're very happy to be a part of that. We just recently participated in the SODACODE hackathon, and we got some really great contributions from the community. So, once again, I want to thank SODA for that, as well as for thanking the hackathon participants. And I just want to speak generally about what I've observed in terms of how participating in open source communities can help someone in their career as a developer. And I've seen this many times. Open source is a fantastic way to explore your interests. It's a fantastic way to develop some skills. And that's one of the things that we've done with our Cortex community, certainly that we're trying to do. We could always do better, and we welcome any feedback that we can get from the community. But one of the things that we've tried to do in our Cortex community is make it so that any developer that wants to try it out and get involved can show up and find some initial very simple things to work on, and then continue to work with us on more and more ambitious things. And so clearly this is very good for Cortex. We love getting contributions from the community. The feedback that we get about how easy is it to build, how easy is it to deploy, are there things that are failing? First of all, that's great for us. It's fantastic. But there's really something in it for the developers as well. One, quite honestly, when we see people do very well, we offer them a job. We currently have somebody that's working for us in Cortex community as one of our developer advocates, Rose Wambui. She was first introduced to us via hackathon, and she was a fantastic participant. And one of the things that she did was, in addition to making her own contribution, she was helping answer questions for the other participants. So it's a way to introduce yourself to the companies and to the teams. And it's also a way for you to think, well, do I want to work on S3 storage? Do I want to work on compilers? Do I want to work on data analytics? you can try lots of different open source community projects and try and develop your interests. So I would encourage everybody that's thinking about a career in technology that participating in open source communities is an excellent way to get an introduction to these communities, to these companies, to these individuals, and see where you might fit in and what your interests are. And further, just that I myself have participated in other open source communities, and it's a great way to feel that you're, doing a little bit of making a contribution to somebody else and doing whatever you can to make people's lives and jobs a little bit easier. So with that, again, I'm John Bent from Seagate Technologies, and thank you very much to SODA for everything that they do. And thank you for the opportunity to speak here today. With that, just a little bit of information about myself and our Cortex project. Please come and join us on GitHub. Send me an email, and I'd be happy to communicate with any and all of you in whatever questions, concerns, comments, suggestions, feedback you might have. Thank you very much. Good day.
Thanks, John. And good news is that John mentioned that one of the members, the developer advocates in Seagate, is joined as an employee through a hackathon. And she also talked in SODACODE yesterday. So there is a great opportunity for all the developers to say the community of experts saying that I'm here through your contributions. Shiva, you have been working with various projects and project management areas. So what do you think about this aspect, what John told, that open source can be a way to get jobs or build your career or create visibility?
Yes, yesterday I think many people have pinged saying that they are interested to join is an openings. See, there are a lot of opportunity it provides. As John said, this is the best platform where they learn something and they want to experiment and they want to evaluate their own skills. Open source is the best opportunity because here you get a chance to choose the organization and to choose the technology based on their interest. Either they say, okay, I'm interested in so and so organization. They can try to see what are the skills the organization need. They can prepare and they can join. Or they might have already had a set of skills which they want to contribute. They can explore many organizations which are working on those. I see that a lot of opportunity. And when I was attending the boot camp, and I could see that a lot of interest, not only in the student but also university. Also, they're interested and they want to join the open source community. I think this is the best. I think every developer they need to make use of this, and they should take this as one of their core subject when they join any of the academic, and they start from the first year of their career, so that by when they complete, they are exposed. They're able to build their own strong profile, and they have multiple options to choose before they finally jump into the job.
Yeah, thanks, Shiva. I think it's an important point that when you go for a interview, you are selected. But
Yes,
here you can select project, you can select even company, you can select the technology areas. That's the right point. And also you mentioned about the curriculum aspect of it. Even from SODA, we are also trying to initiate such kind of initiative for students early in their curriculum. Okay, so I just wanted to extend this. We talked about the technology or project capabilities or expertise that you can get through open source contribution. But it is beyond that. It is not just the technical, but there are the soft skills and other aspects we can learn in open source through open source contributions. Vinothini, you have been working with I think developers for quite some time, and you started a company. So what are your thoughts about what are the other skills or soft skills the developers or students can acquire through open source community ecosystem?
Yeah, so I think when we talk about open source, most often it's misunderstood conception that it always has to be a code contribution. So that becomes more or less like a bottleneck for developers or even students to start contributing to open source. But it's not really the fact, right? You don't have to limit yourself to coding. So you have your strengths. If you are a very good communication, I mean, if you have very good communication skills, or if you have very good written skills, or even if you're a good people person, you want to build a community. So there are a lot more avenues where you can contribute to open source projects and make yourself being seen amongst the community. Right. So if you are planning on building your career, not just on technology, and even if you want to, get into a management position or a community, a developer, right? There are different roles that are available, and you can use the open source project as a platform to showcase your skills and expertise. So we have, in fact, for our own, configurator project, we have people participating, and they have really helped us revamp the architecture a lot, right? So even an architect can participate and then review the architecture, give suggestions, and improve the overall architecture of the project itself. So there is no limitation on what someone can contribute for an open source project.
All right, thanks, Vinothini. This is one aspect probably you tend to miss because, like you mentioned, mostly we talk about code, test, and documentation. But you rightly pointed out, saying that if you are a good communication, you are good in communication, you can become a community manager or managing the meetups or organizer. You are a good organizer. Although all those areas could be explored, and there are roles and job opportunities in those areas as well, even evangelism, things like that. Now, Krishna, what do you think in these lines, beyond coding, testing, and documentation? I mean, any open source starter session we go, we talk about, okay, you can start with the documentation, you can start with testing, you can start with some bug fixes and coding, things like that. Beyond that, what do you think? What are the other areas probably developers are having opportunity in open source ecosystem?
Yeah, thanks. On top of what Vinothini already mentioned, right, that soft skills, right? Yesterday there was a session we were talking about the SODA ambassadors, right? So I still welcome people to join SODA ambassadors.
I was
That's
trying
a
to bring in that branding pitch.
that's a great way to start. Actually, we say, yeah, we need more SODA ambassadors. You come and join with us, right? I mean, it's not necessary that other people do ambassadors job, right? SODA ambassadors, developers can also be part of the SODA ambassador, right? So one specific thing is you should have that persuasive communication, right? You have a point, you have an idea, you have to put it through the community and get it done, right? It's not necessary you have to do coding. Right? That's one of the things. So they could also look into various other things. There will be compliance and policy frameworks can be developed for open source foundation, right? There will be certificates and exams can be developed for open source community, right? Community building we already talked about. Developer advocate is another position people can look into. Beyond that, if somebody really wants to really work with foundations, actually, right, like SODA foundations or any other foundations, they could be part of the foundation members. You can be a employee in the foundation, or you can voluntarily help the foundation to build something, and you can go on to become foundation members. I mean, some of the foundation members are being sponsored by the industry, but some of them are selected through the community, right? Technical overseas committees for most of the foundations are selected by the committees, right? So the developers need not be worried that only I need to look at my coding part. I mean, there are avenues that you can contribute to the foundation, which will enhance their, visibility or enhance their potential, actually. So I would say, I mean, they could start with the coding or documentation, but that's just a small part of the whole equation. But there are larger ecosystem around that. They could grow all the way to, board members and chairman and that kind of a area within a 5 to 10 years window. That's possible. So this is happen, actually. So that skill set, the hard skill set with the soft skill set, and together make them a great leader to drive a community. So I would think, like I said, welcome to SODA Ambassadors program, but you need not be an ambassador, but you could be, like I said, any other aspects of the foundation building.
Yeah, thanks, Krishna. I think there are very subtle points here, that whether you like to teach, whether you like to work on security compliance, or you are a QA, or a DevOps engineer, or you just want to have an organization cross functional job, anything for that matter, you have a
Yeah.
position
Also,
in
also
open source,
we
right?
talked about the test bed creation and things like that, right? I mean,
Right.
how do we get the beginners into the system actually? So somebody does not know anything, they can get into the system by experimenting something through a test bed, right? So if you have a plan to build a test bed, they can be part of that system to build everything. So there are various ways. There are a lot of creative ways people can suggest. Actually, it's not limited. We are talking about what the current communities are doing, but it's like an open field actually, right? And people can come and suggest what are the great ideas they are having. I mean, open source is that it's open, so anybody could
And
join.
also, it is not necessary all these are volunteer, because it can be a job opportunity, correct? All these
Correct.
areas.
That's what I said. Yeah, you can be part of the company. You can be part of Soda Foundation and CNCF and Apache, and you can work for the company and still you can contribute. Otherwise, you can work for great other companies actually. Like
Right.
Vinothini is having her own company, but of course she's a CEO. You don't have to be CEO. You can still go and work at other big companies as a developer or developer advocate. Yeah,
Yeah.
there are ways.
Yeah, even for that matter, I think the poster behind us is designed. So the designers also has, I mean, they also have opportunities in open source. So any stream, it is not just coding or testing or documentation. It is beyond. It's a deeper opportunity available in open source community. So it's always better to connect with open source ecosystem to explore all these possibilities. Like Krishna mentioned, probably you can grow into different roles over the period of time based on your contributions. Now, to do this, uh, uh, it doesn't come free, right? In the sense, to connect with open source, or to contribute, you need certain skills, and also you face some pitfalls. So I would like to just go around all of you to understand that what are the key pitfalls or challenges when a developer come to an open source ecosystem they face, and maybe one point you can suggest them to overcome it. Maybe I'll start with Shiva. And also, see, this is across the globe, right? The open source project visibility is across the globe. So can you add some inputs to this? What are the challenges, and maybe one suggestion from you to
Yeah.
take it forward strongly?
Okay. So I suggest you should learn. You don't need to wait for completely get complete understanding of the domain or the product. You just on go. You try to learn the things. Pick up the things which you are comfortable, and try to contribute. Otherwise, it will be very difficult when you, because they are completely new to the system. They might feel that it'll be a huge code base. They might say, sometimes they might see there is a huge code base, so they might not be so comfortable. So learn on the go, and try to take up the things which you are comfortable, and the community is there to help them. Keep ask, join the Slack, join the mailing list, go through the test cases which you are interested in the product, try to deploy, try to use it. There are many ways where you can be step by step steps you can take to get into the project, rather than looking as a whole system, and you might feel difficult.
Yeah, thanks, Shiva. How about you, Vinodini? I mean, what are the key pitfalls, and what do you suggest the new developers?
Sure. See, in my opinion, I think open source helps you to come out of this paradox of saying, okay, if I have the skill, I can contribute, versus if I contribute, I will get the skill, right? So it's not like that,
That's right.
right? You can start with absolutely no, skill or knowledge in a particular domain, and then start building over a period of time, right? It is a collective learning. So the community kind of helps you, works with you to make sure that you're also coming up to speed and you also learn on the go. But at the same time, it is a collective responsibility and a shared ownership. So from a developer or a student who is trying to contribute to the community, what is required is the time and commitment into the project, and own something that will make the project better, right? So that, I think, that is the absolute necessity for somebody who is looking at a project and wanting to contribute.
Thanks, Vinothini. I like that word. I mean, collective learning, collective responsibility. The collective learning is very, very important because her point is that you can start from nothing. You don't need to know anything. I mean, there is nothing particular. Only thing is that you need to have the will to just start and work with other people in the community. Yeah, thanks, Vinothini. And how about you, Krishna? What are the key challenges, or I mean, maybe what do you suggest?
I think one of the pitfall is I believe a lot of developers or a lot of open source beginner wanted to do some great features, right? They want to do some big PR contribution, right? I would say start with a small PR. That could be the first starting point. And second thing is look at the place where other people are not there. For example, release management, right? A lot of people don't want release management, right? I mean, but there's a great place for you can get in and you can get to know a lot of other things around that project. So you can get into area where not many people are interested, but you can make a big impact. You get in there, make a big impact. So like that few places, if you pick, it will be an easy path, I think. Rather than waiting for I will do a great feature and big PR contribution. Don't think like that. Then I think you'll be fine whoever is doing open source. That's what I think.
Hey, thanks, Krishna. I think that's a good message that if you go to a community and see that some areas are unattended, maybe testing or release management or CI, yeah, get into that, jump into that and start contributing, because eventually you will be an integral part of that community. Even Soda has a lot of such opportunities. And
Yeah. So, if, for example, Kubernetes, if you take, I mean, if you wanted to contribute a great feature in Kubernetes, it will be very difficult to get in something until it is really a great feature, right? But there are a lot of things around that you can work. So,
yeah, thanks, Krishna. So, in the interest of time, I'm jumping some, shortcut to close it. Okay, just two things we will close. First question is that you can just say yes or no. Today, do you think that in open source, research and innovation happens or not? Yes or no? I'll start from Vinothini.
Yes, absolutely. I think a lot of, businesses open source some of their contributions also, one for consumption and for definitely for innovation, the pace of innovation.
Yeah, thanks. How about you, Krishna?
I say yes. Yeah, I will support. Yeah,
okay.
Whatever.
Shiva? Shiva, we are not able to hear you.
Oh, sorry. See, GitHub is having 73 million developers, 200 million repositories. Yes, there are a lot of things are happening.
Okay, so thanks for all your insights. So summary is that open source has a deeper opportunity beyond coding and testing and documentation. There are different job opportunities available, and you can start from zero. And now I will just close with one word answer from you. It's a rapid fire. You just say one word for the suggesting to the developer what they should possess working with open source. Just one word. I'll start with Shiva.
Commitment.
One word.
Commitment.
Okay. Vinothini?
I would go with the same.
Okay. Commitment +1. Okay. Krishna?
I will say passion to do something for you and community. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. Passion, commitment, and I will just add one more word, patience, because you just need to be patient working with any community. So patience, commitment is the most important thing, and passion. With that, you can explore and get maximum out of the potential of open source ecosystem for your career. With that note, thank you so much, Shiva, Vinothini, and Krishna for joining this panel discussions and sharing your insights. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yeah, and do you have any time for any questions from people?
We do have time. I think there is a question in the chat. Open doors is because no, there's actually a point made here. Open research and innovation is always the best because it demands a demo of your project.
Okay, so just to add that point is, last point which we could not cover much is that if you see the global technology trend, most of it is driven by open source projects, even be it cloud, AI, ML, big data. If you see, all the top projects are open source projects. So that's why I think all of them agreed that research and innovation, one of the key channels today is open source ecosystem. Yeah, that's it.
I think that's all the time we have. Thank you everyone for being a part of this panel discussion, and I'm pretty sure it has been informative for everyone. We will now move to the next session. Thanks again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.